guys, and welcome back to HR Talks with Leash. I hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year. It's 2023. My word for the year is transformation, and I hope you've all got some kind of word for the year or some kind of motivation or some drive that you want to achieve in 2023. And I hope that HR Talks with Leash can help you with your HR goals, getting those interviews, getting those HR jobs, and just helping you overall to progress forward with your HR career this year and beyond. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about being promoted. So I am now a HR business partner at my company. And you know what? It's great to be able to talk to you on my journey, because I remember starting this channel. I was a HR student doing my master's degree back in 2020. And then I got my first job in HR as a HR intern. And then I became a people support administrator. And now I'm a HR business partner. And I just want to talk to you about my journey, how I got here, what my role includes and what it entails, my goals for 2023 for this role, and just some advice on how to progress in your HR career if this is something that you want to kind of pursue and follow. So my journey so far, so it's been 3 years, and I've told you when I started this channel, I was like, I'm on a journey to success. I'm not at the top yet, but I'm gonna be a HR professional someday. And you know what? We're finally here. Like I can believe it in a way, because this was a goal that I've wanted for a long time. I remember when I was in undergrad and I said to myself, I want to be a HR professional. I want to get into HR. How am I going to do that? And I took the steps that I needed to take in order to get myself to where I am at the moment. But it's been a journey. It really has been a journey. And for me, I think putting myself out there on this channel and just kind of being more open with who I am as an individual and my confidence has really helped me to get to where I am at this point. I think having the drive and the desire to be in HR as well, and the passion for it, has really elevated me to get to the point that I'm at today. But to this point, to being a HR business partner, I didn't really think it would happen so quickly. And to be honest, I've just got to thank my company really for really believing in me. And when things have opened up in certain spaces, my name has been in certain, places where it's like, oh, Alicia might be a great fit for this, or Alicia could really benefit from doing this. And I feel like that's how I've got here today. So I was a people support administrator for about 1 year and 8 months, and basically in my organization, they were going through a HR transformation globally. So our whole department was changing, meaning new roles were being added to our department as a people team, and it was opening up a lot more of opportunity. And for me, it was a bonus and a benefit, I would say, because I didn't see a path in the company that I'm at the moment at all, because usually in certain positions like HR, there's not really so many positions that you can jump into. Like there's only a few that you could progress into. So if you're an HR administrator, then a business partner role would make sense for you to go into. But if 2 people are already occupying that role and there's no more, then what are you going to do? And for me, that was my thought process before this whole transformation. So I thought, I'm going to have to move to another company if I want to get to a HR business partner and then one day be a HR manager. It's not going to happen here unless somebody leaves. And that's usually that's the case. Usually that's how things happen. Like if you're lucky enough to be in a position where someone leaves and you're ready to move into your next role, then great. But if you're not, then the most logical thing to do is to think about how are you going to move on, or how could you move in the company potentially. Maybe you could go into different areas of HR if you're interested in it. But if you want to move up to that level, what do you do? So I was lucky enough to be in a position where the HR transformation was happening. Now, I wasn't even looking to be a business partner at this point right now, really. I just wanted to kind of progress within the people support role and be the best I could be as an administrator. But the opportunity came and I decided to take it, But I feel like I had the support of like my manager and people and colleagues around me that were kind of like, Alicia, this would be a great opportunity for you. Because personally, I wasn't sure if I was ready to become a business partner at all. Like, I didn't think I had the skills or the qualification necessary to be a HR business partner at this point in time. I just didn't think I could do it. But I had to like kind of reevaluate things and just take a step back and be like, okay, Alicia, why do you think you can't do it? Why do you think you can't be a HR business partner? So I kind of listed out my reasonings. So I was like, well, I've not really I haven't spoken and liaised with like managers on a level where I'm supporting with like performance management and career development. And then I was like, okay, Alicia, yeah, okay, you might not have done it in an in-depth way, but in a lot of ways you've already liaised with managers in your people support role. Like, you were leading on the onboarding, and when you have onboardings, you have to talk to managers about the whole process and what that looks like, and how that manager needs to make sure that they're onboarding their employee properly. So you haven't had conversations around performance management issues or disciplinaries per se, but you have done it in the role that you've been in already, like, and you've showcased that you're capable of speaking to managers in that capacity. So technically it means that you've got the transferable skills to go into a business partner role. Yes, you don't know every in and out of this role and how to use all of the different new systems and processes that the business partners use. You don't know all of the processes when it comes to, like, let's say international mobility. If someone's coming from a different country to work in the UK for us, the whole process with liaising with management, liaising with international mobility team, and filling out the right forms and understanding the different performance kind of issues related to that person, or like, do you know why they would be a good fit for the role in the UK? Do you understand the different departments? Yes, I don't know all of that right now. I actually don't. So it's like, you've got to learn. You have to learn. Like, that's the only way to progress. And for me, I feel like, I've been in the company for 2 years now. I've been around so many different stakeholders in this organization. Like, so many different people know me, and I can build my networks. And all I need to do is learn the processes for a business partner, and then build on that, and I should be able to fit into the role. So I would say, in terms of the business partner role, I probably know about 40% of it at this point, maybe 50%. And the other 50% I need to understand and get to know. But I can do that, and I shouldn't stop myself and think, oh, there's no way I can do that because I've never done this before. I've never been a business partner. Like, you can't, if you want to progress in HR, you've got to take the jump, and you've got to go into areas where you don't feel as comfortable in order for you to move forward and progress. So that is what I'm trying to do right now. So yeah, my manager even said, Alicia, go for it, apply for the role. So I basically wrote like a kind of little personal statement in a way as to why I wanted this role, because that's how everyone in the HR department already had to apply for a different role if they wanted to be in a new role. So I did that, and I explained my reasonings behind it. I explained the experience that I've got outside of work as well, and how I want to specialize in career development. And that's basically what my role entails as well. It's a HR business partner role, but it's specialized within career development. And it was a perfect suit for me, because with the work I do on YouTube with career development and giving advice about HR, to working with students and doing induction days with students and information days on what we do at Dassault Systems, and being able to articulate myself in a way where, I can explain what the company does and how a student can fit into that environment, how a graduate can fit in, how I was an intern and how I've built myself. There's a lot of different interactions that I've had from like a career development perspective, with trying to even understand people's journeys internally in the company as well. I've been doing that as a people support administrator. I've been able to lead within different environments as well. So with diversity, inclusion and belonging, leading in our identity pillar, and being able to liaise and talk to people in that way. I have a lot of skills that I'm developing continuously. So I just knew, Alicia, based on that, put all of this in this personal statement and put yourself out there, speak to like the senior level management, send this to the senior management of this division in the HR department that's new, and see what they think. So, you know, I kind of listened to my manager's advice on that one and took that and sent it to like senior management, and I was just trying to do all I could to kind of get this role. And I was able to get it based off that. And you know, I'm just really, I feel like I'm very lucky, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to progress within the company I'm at the moment and continue to develop that way. Because I know if I was to come out of the company, which I did, well, let me just say this, I did do an interview for a business partner role externally as well. So I actually interviewed for Goldman Sachs, and that actually went very well. So, you know, I still have had the opportunity to kind of do an interview in an external setting to see if I'm capable of showcasing myself for a business partner role. And that was actually going well, but unfortunately, the application froze for that one, so I couldn't continue with it. But it wasn't anything to do with me and how I was portraying myself. So I knew that if I wanted to, I could do a business partner role outside of this organization as well, because I believe in my source. I believe in the quality and the skills that I have. And well, I've been starting to believe in it anyway. And it was showing externally too. So getting this position internally in this company that I'm already at the moment, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And 2023 is going to be a year of greatness. It really is going to be a year of greatness. It's going to be a year of pushing my boundaries and setting different levels for myself and working really hard to get to a position where I can say, you know, Alicia, you came from a people support role, you was a HR administrator before, you had 50% of the skills needed, and you were able to double that, and you were able to become an expert in your field. And that's what I want to do. I want to grow within this business partner role in the next like maybe 2 years or so, and just see what happens and develop myself and be able to bring different expertise and knowledge to this channel as well, and share with you guys so that you can also develop within your HR journeys too, and you can utilize and use the content that I'm putting out to kind of help with your career development as well. So that is the journey so far in terms of like how I've come into this position, and like what my thoughts are and what I'm trying to do to kind of sustain myself as a HR business partner. So I just want to talk to you about a few of the different roles and responsibilities that I am going to have as a HR business partner starting in my new role. Now, I'm officially starting my new role in January. I've been transitioning into my new role for the past few months now, since about September, November, but I'm going to be properly officially starting it within January. So yeah, just to let you know, I am, as I mentioned before, I'm new to this role, so I'm doing a lot of learning at the moment and understanding. But just based on like how I've progressed so far as a people support administrator, there are just certain things that I do want to kind of move forward with already as a business partner, which I kind of know I can do just based on like the things that I've done before. So the main work that I want to focus on, because my role is more specialized to career development as an HR business partner, is internal mobility, and how can we ensure that more people are speaking about their career journeys in this company, and what can we do to support and coach employees and also managers when it comes to making certain transitions of this kind. So my work is going to include mainly working on some of our internal applications that we've got, which focus on career development. So there's an application where employees can use it alongside their like application, which you kind of put everything around your like yearly review and objective and plans in there. There's another application that we've got which focuses more on your journey. If you want to move into a different role in 3 years time, what does that look like for you? What do you need to work on? What do you need to develop? What skills do you need to do? What courses do you need to take? How are you going to progress into that new role, and what advice and guidance and help do you need to do that? So there's not really initially there wasn't a role within the organization which focused solely on career development and kind of really honing in on helping employees with this decision. But I'm going to try and transform that in a lot of different ways. So I want to kind of talk to people already who've gone through career transitions and have a conversation around that, so that other people who aren't too sure on how to move forward with their career in the company can do that. And what are the options available? Because sometimes when I've done exit interviews with certain employees, they've spoken about career development and they're not completely sure what all the options are out there to them. So yes, you know, you might want to move up, but what about different lateral moves? What about moves into different parts of the organization, which you think you might be a good fit for, but you don't know how to do that. You don't know how to transition the skills that you've got into that area. So how can we have more conversations around this? So that's going to be one of my main focuses and one of my intentions within my new role. I'm also going to be focusing a lot more on our onboarding. So I want to try and transform the way that we do onboarding in my organization. Now, I think so far it has been really good, the way that we do onboarding, compared to what I've heard from employees who've come from previous organizations, and they've said that they've not experienced anything like the onboarding that we do at the moment. But I know that there's room for improvement, and we all know there is room for improvement in this organization, but it's something I'm very passionate about, and I want to do more work on how we structure our onboarding so that employees are getting the most out of it. Because onboarding is so important for an organization. Like, this is the first impression that an employee has of our organization, and if the onboarding isn't right, then there's a high chance for a lot of employees in the first few months that they actually change their mind and they don't want to be in the organization anymore, simply because of the way that they've been onboarded. So that's why it's so important that we take this very seriously. And so this is something else that I'm going to be working more on. So in my old role, I was leading on delivering the onboarding and ensuring that employees were welcomed into the organization on their first day. But in this role, I'm not going to really be doing the actual onboarding presentation anymore, but it's more going to be like thinking strategically on how we can improve all of our onboarding processes. How can we improve the delivery of our onboarding? How can we utilize people in our organization who have different technical skills in areas where they can actually really explain what we do in our organization in a much more detail, which intrigues the new starter? How do we make sure that they feel as welcome as possible on their first day? How do we ensure that we've got an environment where on your first day, you know, you feel like you can ask anything, you feel that you've got all of the information, and it's not been something that's been overloaded in the first day in 2 hours, but how can we spread that out? So that's also another thing that I want to kind of work on as a HR business partner in my new role. So I'm also involved in our performance management and helping and assisting with managers to ensure that performance management is done correctly towards the end of each year. At the end of every year, every employee has a performance review, and there's a whole process that we need to kind of go through, that managers have to work on from the end of the year to kind of like the end of like the first quarter, basically. So we kind of advise new managers especially on how to make sure that they are following through on that performance process. So there's so many different things that happen within these stages, and I've not really experienced this before. So I've been listening into our different kind of talks with the other business partners who've done this before to understand how the process works. Now, because we are transforming as a HR organization globally, the way that we're doing it is not exactly the same as it was before. So even the business partners that have done this performance management process before, they're also kind of not sure on how completely on like what we're doing moving forward, because we are changing different processes. But basically, I'm learning what that looks like and understanding the different applications and processes we need to follow from a HR perspective to aid and support the managers. Within performance as well, management is also restructuring of organizations. So different departments may want to restructure how their organization is done. So we also need to assist with managers on how that works. There's also different in our organization, and I'm sure this is within other organizations, but we've got like a career level grading system, and you may be eligible to move up a career level grade, and then within that there's also different categories that you can kind of move up into within that career level grade too. So it's about thinking about those processes with managers, and trying to help managers to understand, okay, like when is the best time for somebody to move up a career level grade, when is the best time to keep them in the same range, because we need to make sure that that person is in the right career level grade and that they've got the right objectives that they need to work to in order to be able to move up. And then there's also conversations around variable payments as well. And variable payments are sometimes related to what you've got on your performance review and what that says about you. So there's so many different kind of elements that we as business partners need to help and support with managers to make sure that everything that they're doing around their employees for performance related issues is done in the correct way. So I'm also going to be working on international mobility cases. Now, I've already been involved in international mobility cases as a people support administrator, because when it comes to doing the visa process, we've got to liaise with our immigration specialists in order for that to be run smoothly. But the process that happens before that is usually done by the HR business partners. So that means filling out specific forms with the information about that individual and what kind of potential they're at the moment within their career journey, and how are they going to be a suitable fit when they transition from whichever country that they're in to the UK as well. You have to have conversations with compensation and benefits too, to understand their salary packages and their variable payment packages as well, and what that's going to look like. And from a HR perspective, we need to be involved in that process at the start when we're liaising with the person who's coming from the different country, and also our immigration specialists who get involved in the process, but also the international mobility team as well as the compensation and benefits team. So there's a lot of like liaising and understanding like how to make sure, we need to make sure basically that everything is running smoothly in order for the process of the transition to take place. So there's other things that happening as well around international mobility too, some new cases, things that we've never really come across before, and that was also a part that I have to play as well, understanding when, if something hasn't been done before, what do I need to do in order to get buy-in for that. So at the moment I'm working on something where we want an apprentice to move it to the UK, but that's not been done before. When it comes to apprentices, it's usually like mid to senior level employees from other countries that move across to the UK. So how do we get the buy-in from the senior stakeholders in order for us to, as a business, cover certain costs that we've not had to cover before? So that includes creating proposals, liaising with different people within my organisation who may have done this before in a different country, potentially. How can I learn from them to understand what's the best way to move forward with this process? How can I liaise with the management who's involved with this and the apprentices who are involved with this to make sure that it's run smoothly, even though it's not something we've done before? And there's also so many possibilities for me to come up with different ideas based on like what I've seen from my point of view as a people support specialist, even as an intern. And there's different things and different perspectives that I can bring to the table for a lot of new projects, which I can really help and support on. So that is basically what I'm going to be doing as a HR business partner, specializing in career development within my new role currently. So what are my goals for 2023 as a HR business partner? Well, I want to make sure that I'm liaising with different stakeholders across the business, because it's really important that as a business partner, I understand the different areas that I'm looking after, so that I can support the business and the objectives that they're trying to get to. Based off that, understanding what it is that they're doing within the business is the most important thing. So I really want to make sure I'm liaising with as many stakeholders as possible. I also want to make sure that I've got a good relationship with my manager, because my manager is going to be my main support throughout this whole process. And if there's something that I'm unsure about or I want to learn more about, then it's important that I let her know that, so that she can then aid me and support me in the best way possible. I also want to make sure that I create great relationships within my HR team, so with the other business partners that I'm working with and with different people in the different sectors of our new organization. It's important that I'm making the right connections, even with our learning and development team. Because I'm focusing a lot around career and development, I'm going to need to be liaising with our learning and development team to understand what they're actually doing and focusing on, and what I can kind of like, how can I contribute to that as well. So yeah, I want to just make sure that I'm liaising with as many people as possible, and I'm going to be learning as much as I can. I want to be growing, so I want to just be kind of on top of my game when it comes to understanding what's happening in HR on a global basis, also on a basis of the UK as well. So referring back to the CIPD when needed, referring to ACAS, understanding what different regulations and rules are coming through from a HR perspective as well. So I just want to kind of get more of an understanding and a grounding and a knowledge around that too. So that's my main focus for 2023 in terms of like career development and progression, and I just want to become an expert in my field too. So by learning from different people, liaising and making those relationships, I'll also be able to get better at my job and my role, and take that 50% or 60% maybe of on the skills that I know already to 100%, so that I'm really kind of like in my element and in my zone, and just thinking about even the next steps that I want to take within my HR career. In terms of how you can get a promotion within HR, a lot of you out there are probably like HR administrators. You might have just got into the industry now, or you've been in there a few years. But what can you be thinking about right now to help you to progress in your career? So I think the best thing that you should really be doing at this point is asking as many questions as possible about what you're doing at the moment, and talking to different colleagues and liaising with different stakeholders across the business, so that you're understanding like what they're doing to within their roles and how that fits into your job as well. I think understanding the business that you're in is the main thing, because when it comes to supporting from a HR perspective, how can we support the business if we don't understand the business and the different things that we want to implement? Sometimes it can only be through understanding like what is going on in the business at this current moment, so that you can put out the right kind of resources needed when it comes to career development, when it comes to like the different training development courses that the employees may need. If you don't know what they're doing in the business, then how can you help them to become better? So that's like one thing that I think you definitely should be thinking about doing, even if you're just an administrator and you're not like doing the strategic elements yet. It's great to just have that understanding already, because then when you're trying to get into that business partner role and you're becoming that strategic person, you know, you've already got under your belt the fact that you know what each person does within the business, and you know the different areas, so you can already start your conversations to get used to talking to managers and understanding what their specific needs are. I also think like it's great to have like a career development plan of like where you see yourself in the next couple of years. So like what over this next year now in 2023, what is it that you're trying to achieve as a HR administrator? How can you become the expert in your field, and what would be the next step for you? Do you want to become more strategic? Do you want to lead on more projects? How can you do that now already as a people support or a HR administrator, so that you can take that next level? Is there projects that you specifically could lead on within what you're doing right now? Because there's probably different parts of your work where, you know, something needs to be improved and you can actually lead on that. So maybe have that conversation with your manager so that you can bring out those leadership skills. Also, I'd make sure that you're just keeping up to date with what's going on in HR in general. So as I mentioned before, the CIPD, ACAS, reading into these articles, looking at different people within the HR industry as well, and even going on YouTube, watching videos like this, so that you're kind of more aware of like what is happening within HR settings from different real life perspectives. It's all essential, and it will really help you to kind of develop with yourself as a HR professional, so that you know what is needed for you to take the next steps on your specific journey. So I hope that this video has helped you when it comes to understanding a little bit more about being a HR business partner, and understanding from the perspective of somebody who's just going into the role. I'm not a professional or a pro at the moment right now. I'm still in the early stages of my business partner career, and I just wanted to share this with you because, you know, sometimes on the internet we just see people who have been seasoned in a HR business partner for like 15 years, and you don't really probably know what it's like for somebody who's just got into that position, and like how does that transition work for somebody who's been a HR administrator only for a couple of years and now moving into a business partner role. What does that look like? So I hope that this video has given you a little bit of an insight into that. If there's anything else you want to kind of understand or know about just starting out as a business partner in HR, then please let me know. Hopefully I'm going to be documenting my journey throughout me being a business partner as well, and I'll keep you updated with what I'm learning along the way. But yeah, I hope this video has been useful and helpful for you, and I will see you in my next video.